Om Sai Ram, Sai Sacharita, Chapter 6. Ram Navami Festival and Masjid repairs. Efficiency of the touch of the Guru's hand. Ram Navami Festival, the origin, transformation, etc. Repairs of Masjid. Before describing Ram Navami Festival and Masjid repairs, the author makes some preliminary remarks about Sadguru as follows. Efficiency of touch of the Guru's hand. When Sadguru is the helmsman, he is sure to carry us safely and easily beyond the worldly ocean. The word Sadguru brings to the mind Sai Baba, the perfect master. He appears to me as if standing before me and applying Udi, sacred ashes to my forehead and placing his hand of blessing on top of my head. Then joy fills my heart and love overflows my eyes. Wonderful is the power of the touch of Guru's hand. The subtle body consisting of those of thoughts and desires which cannot be burned by the gross fire is destroyed by mere touch of the Guru's hand, and the sins of my past births are cleaned and washed away. Even the speech of those who feel agitated when they hear religious and godly talks attain calmness. The sight of Sai Baba's handsome form chokes our throat with joy, which makes the eyes overflow with tears and overwhelms the heart with emotions. It awakens us, I am He, Soham. Brahma consciousness manifests the joy of self-realization and dissolving the distinction of I and Thou, makes us one of the Supreme, one reality. When I begin to read scriptures at every step, I am reminded by my Sadguru Sai Baba, who assumes the form of Rama or Krishna and makes me listen to his life. For instance, when I sit to listen to the Bhagavad or Uddhav Gita song of techniques by Lord Krishna and his disciple Uddhav for the welfare of the devotees, when I myself start to write anything, I cannot compose a few words or sentences, but when he of his own accord makes me write, I go on writing and there is no end to it. When the disciple's egoism props up, he presses it down with his hand and gives him his own power, makes him achieve his object and thus satisfies and blesses him. If anyone prostrates before Sai and surrenders his heart and soul to him, then all the chief objects of life, wisdom, drama, artha, kama, and moksha are attained easily and unsolicitatedly. 4 paths, wisdom of karma, dhyan, yoga, and bhakti, leads us separately to God. Of these, the path of bhakti is thorny and full of pits and ditches, and thus difficult to traverse. But if you rely on the Sadguru, on your Sadguru, avoid the pits and thorns and walk straight. It will take you to your destination, God. So says Sai Baba. After philosophing about the self-existence Brahma, his power Maya, to create this world and the world created, and stating that all these three are ultimately one of the same. The author quotes Sai Baba's words, guaranteeing the welfare of bhaktas. There will never be any dearth or scarcity regarding food and clothes in my devotees' home. It is my special characteristic that I always look to provide for the welfare of these devotees who worship me well-heartedly with the minds ever fixed on me. Lord Krishna has also said the same in Gita. Therefore, strive not much for food and clothes. If you want anything, beg of the Lord. Renounce worldly honors. Try to get Lord's grace and blessing to be honored in His court. Do not be deluded by worldly honor. This form of the deity should be firmly fixed in the mind. Let all the senses and mind be ever devoted to the worship of the Lord. Let there be no attraction for any other thing. Fix the mind in remembering me always, so that it will not wander elsewhere towards body, wealth, and home. Then it will be calm, peaceful, and carefree. This is the sign of mind being engaged to good company. If the mind is virgin, it cannot be called well merged in Him. After quoting these words, the author goes on to relate the story of Ram Navami festival in Shirdi. As Ram Navami is the most celebrated festival in Shirdi, another fuller account, as published in Sri Sai Leela magazine of 1925, page 197, also referred to a summary of the festival as related in both of these accounts are attempted here. Origin. One Mr. Gopal Rao Gund was a surveyor in survey depth at Kopergon. He was a great devotee of Baba. He had 3 wives but had no issue. With Sai Baba's blessing, a son was born to him. In the joy that he felt due to this, an idea of celebrating a fair Urus occurred to him in the year 1897. And he placed it for consideration before the Shirdi devotees, which is Tatya Patel, Dada Kot Patel, and Madhavrao Deshpande or Sharma. They all approved of the idea and obtained Sai Baba's permission and blessing for it. Then an application was made to get the collector's sanction for celebrating the Urus. But as the village Kulkarni had held against holding the fair, the sanction was refused. But as Baba had blessed it, they tried again and ultimately succeeded in getting the collector's sanction. The day of the Urus was fixed on Ram Navami. After having consultation with Sai Baba, it seems he had some purpose behind this, which is unification of 2 festivals, the Urus and the Ram Navami, and unification of 2 communities, the Hindus and the Mohammedans. As future events showed, this end or object was duly achieved. Through the permission was obtained, but other difficulties cropped up. Shirdi was a village and there was scarcity of water. There were 2 wells in the village. One in use dried up soon, and the water from the second was brackish. This brackish water was turned into sweet water by Sai Baba by putting flowers into it. As the water of this well was insufficient, so Tatya Patel had to arrange to get water from outside. Temporary shops were to be constructed and wrestling bouts arranged. Gopal Rao Gun had a friend by name Damu Anna Kasir of Ahmednagar. He also similarly unhappy in matter of progeny, though he had 2 wives. He too was blessed by Sai Baba with sons of Mr. Gun. Prevailed upon his friend to prepare the supply one flag for the procession of the fair. He also succeeded in including Mr. Nana Sahib Nimkar to supply another flag. Both these flags were taken in the procession through the village and finally fixed at 2 corners of the masjid, which is called by Sai Baba as Dwarka Mai. This is being done even now. The Sandal procession. There was another procession which was started in this fair. The idea of Sandal procession originated with one Mr. Amir Sakar Dalal, a Mohammedan Bhakta from Korla. This procession held honor of great Muslim saints. Sandal, that is chandan paste and scrapings, are put in a thali flat dish with incense burning before them and carried in procession to the accompanied with band and music through the village, and then after returning to the masjid, the contents of the dishes are thrown on mimbar, niche and walls of the masjid. This work was managed by Mr. Amir Shakar for the first 3 years, and then afterwards his wife. So on the 2 processions, the flags by Hindus and Sandal by Muslims, went on side by side and are still going on without any problem. Arrangement. This day was very dear and sacred to the devotees of Sai Baba. Most of them turned up for the occasion and took part in the management of the fair. Tatya Kot Patel looked to all outward affairs, while the internal management was entirely left to Radha Krishna Mai, a female devotee of Baba. Her residence was full of guests on the occasion, and she had to look after the needs and also arrange for the paraphernalia of the fair. Another work which she willingly did was to clean and whitewash the entire masjid. Its walls and floors, which were blackened and were full of soot on account of the perpetual Duni, sacred fire of Sai Baba. This she did during the night when Sai Baba had gone to sleep every alternate night in the Chavadi. She had to take out all the things, including the Duni, after thorough cleaning and whitewashing the place. Whitewashing replaced them, as they were before. Feeding the poor, which was so dear to Baba, was also an important time in this fair. For this purpose, cooking on a grand scale and preparing various sweet dishes was done in Radha Krishna Mai's lodging. And various rich and wealthy devotees took a leading part in this. Transformation of Urus into Ram Navami festival. Things were going on in this way, and the fair was gradually increasing. in importance till 1912, when a change took place. That year, one devotee, Mr. Krishna Rao Jogeshwar Bhism, the author of Sai Sugunopasana, came to the fair with Dada Saheb Karpande of Amaravati, who and was staying on the previous day in Dikshitwada. While he was laying in the veranda, and while Mr. Lakshman Rao alias Kaka Mahanji was going with puja materials to the masjid, and thought arose in his mind, and he accosted and later, thus there is some providential arrangement in the fact that Urus or fair is celebrated in Shirdi on Ram Navami. Ram Navami is very dear to all the Hindus. Then why not begin Ram Navami festival? The celebration of the birth of Sri Ram is the day here. Kaka Mahanjanji liked the idea, and it was arranged to get Baba's permission in this matter. The main difficulty was how to secure the Haridas who would be kirtan and sing the glories of the Lord on occasion. But Bhism solved the difficulty by saying that his Ram Akhyan, the composition of Rama's birth, was ready and he would do the kirtan himself, while Kaka Mahajani should play the harmonium. It was also arranged to get the Suntavada ginger powder mixed with sugar as prasad, prepared by Radha Krishna Mai. So they immediately went to the masjid to get Baba's permission. Baba, who knew everything and aware of what was happening there, asked Mahajani as to what was going on in the Vada. Being rather perturbed, Mahajani could not catch the purport of the question and remained silent. Then Baba asked Bhism what he had to say. He explained the idea of celebrating Ram Navami festival and asked for Baba's permission, and Baba gladly gave it. All rejoiced and made preparations for the Jayanti festival. Next day, the masjid was decorated with buttings, etc. A cradle was supplied by Radha Krishna Mai and placed in front of Baba's seat, and the proceedings started. Bhism took up the kirtan and Mahajani began to play on the harmonium. Sai Baba sent a man to call Mahajani. He was hesitating to go, doubtful whether Baba would allow the festival to go on, but he went to Baba. The latter asked him as to what was going on and why the cradle was placed there. He answered that Ram Navami festival had commenced and the cradle was put out of that purpose. Then Baba took a garland from the nimbar or niche and placed it round his neck and sent another garland to Bhism. Then the kirtan commenced. When it came to a close, loud sounds of victory to Ram went up and gulal colored powder was thrown upon all around amidst band of and music. Everybody was overjoyed when suddenly roar was heard. The red powder thrown promiscuously went up and somehow fell into Baba's eyes. Baba got wild and began to scold and abuse loudly. What people got frightened and took to their heels. The intimate devotees who knew Baba well took those scoldings and outpourings of Baba and blessings in disguise. They thought that when Ram was born, it was proper for Baba to get wild and arranged to kill Ravan and his demons in the form of egoism and wicked thoughts, etc. Besides, they knew that whenever a new thing was undertaken in Shirdi, it was usual with Baba to get wild and angry, and so they kept quiet. Radha Krishna Mai was rather afraid and thought that Baba might break her cradle, and she asked Mahajani to pull that cradle back. When he went to loosen and unfasten the cradle, Baba went to him and asked him not to remove it. Then, after some time, Baba became calm, and that day's program, including Maha Puja and Aarti, was finished. Later, Mr. Mahajani asked Baba for permission to remove the cradle. Baba refused, the same saying that festival was not yet over. Next day, another Kirtan and Gopi Kala ceremony. The earthen pot containing parched rice mixed with curd is hung to be broken after the Kirtan, and the contents distributed to all was done by Lord Krishna amongst his cow herd was performed on that day. Baba allowed the cradle to be removed. While Ram Navami festival was thus going on, the procession of the two flags by the day and the sandal by night went off with usual pomp and show. From this time onwards, the Urs of Baba was transformed into the Ram Navami festival. Next year, 1913, the items in the program of Ram Navami began to increase. Radha Krishna Mai started a Nam Saptah, singing of glory of God's name continuously day and night for 7 days. From 11th day, the Chaitra. For this, all devotees took part by turns, and she also joined it sometimes early in morning, as Ram Navami festival is celebrated in many places and all over the country. The difficulty of getting the Haridas was felt again. But 5 or 6 days before the festival, Mahajani incidentally met Balabua, who was known as modern Tukaram, and got him all the kirtan that year. The year 1914, another Balabua Sartar and Birat Siddha Kavate district Satara could not act as Haridas in his own town, as plague was prevailing there, and so he came to Shirdi. With Baba's permission, which was secured through Kaka Sahib Dikshit, he did the Kirtan as sufficiently recompensed for his labor. The difficulty of getting A new Haridas every year was finally solved from 1914 by Sai Baba, as he entrusted this function to Das Kanu Maharaj permanently, and since that time he has been successfully and creditably conducting that function until now. Since 1912, the festival began to grow gradually year by year. From 11th to 12th of Chaitra, Shirdi looked like a beehive of men. Shops began to increase. Celebrated wrestlers took part in wrestling bouts. Feeding the poor was done on grander scale. Hard work and sincere efforts of Radha Krishnamai turned Shirdi into a sansthan. State paraphernalia increased. A beautiful horse, a palanquin, chariot, and many silver items, utensils, pots, buckets, pictures, mirrors, etc. were presented. Elephants were also sent for the procession. Through all this, paraphernalia increased enormously. Sai Baba ignored all these things and maintained his simplicity and modest as before. It is to be noted that both Hindus and Mohammedans have been working in unison. In both the processions during the entire festival, there has been no confirmations or confrontations or quarrel between them so far. First, about 5,000 to 7,000 people used to gather, but the figure went up to 75,000 in some years. Still, there was no outbreak of any epidemic, disease, or any riots worth the name during past so many years. The repairs of the masjid. Another important idea occurred to Gopal Gund. Just as he started the Urs or fair, he thought that he should repair and renovate the masjid. So in order to carry out the repairs, he collected stones and got them dressed. But this work was not assigned to him. This was reserved for Nana Sahib Chandorkar and the pavement work for Kaka Sahib Dikshit. Initially, Baba was unwilling to allow them to have work done, but with intervention of Mahalasapati, a local devotee of Baba, his permission was secured. Baba took a small ghandi of his seat, discarding the usual piece of sackcloth used till then. In 1911, the Sabha Mandap courtyard was also put in order with great labor and effort. The open space in front of the masjid was very small and inconvenient. Kaka Sahib Dikshit wanted to extend it and put a roofing on it. At great expense, he got iron posts, pillars, and trusses and started the work. At night, all the devotees worked hard and fixed the posts. But Baba, when he returned from Chavadi next morning, uprooted them all and threw them out. Once it so happened that Baba got very excited, caught a pole with one hand and began to shake the uproot it, and with the other hand he caught Tatya Patil's neck. He took by force Tatya Patil's peta, struck a match, set it on fire and threw it in a pit. At that time Baba's eyes flashed like burning embers. None dared to look at him and got terribly frightened. Baba took out a rupee from his pocket and threw it there as if it were an offering on an auspicious occasion. Tatya was also much frightened. None knew that what was going on and to happen to Tatya, and none dared to interfere. Bagoji Shinde, the leper devotee of Baba, made a bold advance, but he was pushed aside by Baba. Madhav Rao was also similarly treated, plated and brick pieces. So all those who went to intercede were similarly dealt with. But after some time, Baba's anger cooled down. He sent for a shopkeeper. It got for him an embroidered peta and himself tied in on Tatya's head, as if he was being given a special honor. All the people were wonderstruck to see this strange behavior of Baba. They were at a loss to know what enraged Baba so suddenly, and what led him to assault Tatya Patel, and why his anger cooled down the next moment. Baba was sometimes very calm and quiet and talked sweet things with love, but suddenly, with or without any reason, he enraged. Many such incidents may be related, but I don't know which to choose and which to omit. I therefore refer them as they occur to me. In the next chapter, the question whether Baba was a Hindu or a Mohammedan will be taken up, and his yogic practices and powers and other matters will also be dealt with. Vow to Shri Sai Baba, peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.